I ultimately got my own sister fired from her job at a civil rights law firm. And it was the only way to save our youngest sister from a life of modern-day slavery. It all started when she was dropped off at my apartment for what was supposed to be a simple 2-week stay. To understand why I had to do what I did, you need to understand my family. You've probably heard of families with a strict hierarchy, where the eldest sibling has all the power. My family is one of those. But with a tragic twist. Our parents were deadbeat drug addicts. So my eldest sister, Olivia, who was just a child herself, had to raise all 5 of us. Because of that sacrifice, she became the undisputed boss of the family. When Olivia said, "Jump," the only acceptable response from the rest of us was, "How high?" The heart of this story is my youngest sister, Sophie, who's only 20. Most of us older siblings have at least a few hazy, good memories of our mother before her life went off the rails. But Sophie doesn't. For her, Olivia was the only mother she ever knew. A fact Olivia learned to exploit with chilling precision. The rest of us fled the family home the moment we turned 18. Olivia eventually moved across the country, too. But not before our younger siblings were in their mid-teens. For years, Sophie begged to move in with her. But Olivia always refused, claiming she and her new husband needed their privacy. The truth was, she needed someone to stay behind and take care of our father. That all changed the moment Olivia got pregnant. Suddenly, she was more than happy to have Sophie move in with her. For the next 2.5 years, Sophie was there, simply helping out. The whole situation came to a head when some family of our father's decided to visit for a couple of weeks. Olivia needed Sophie's room for the guests. So without even asking me, she just dropped Sophie off at my apartment. One evening, Sophie saw me studying for my master's degree and looked on with a wistful expression. She told me she had always dreamed of going to college. "So why don't you?" I asked. Sophie sighed. I talked to Olivia about it. But she said not everyone is the college type. She said I wouldn't have time to work, study, and take care of my niece all at the same time. Plus, it's expensive. I pressed her. Plenty of people work and study. Olivia could put her daughter in daycare. I'm sure it wouldn't cost much more than what she's already paying you. Sophie's response hit me like a ton of bricks. She doesn't pay me, she said quietly. She gives me food and a place to live. If I need money, I just try to pick up a shift at my job. And just like that, I learned the horrifying truth. My little sister wasn't just babysitting. She was cleaning the entire house. Every single day. For free. Her life was so consumed by taking care of Olivia's child that she was only able to work 8 hours a week at her actual paying job. It's just as one commenter pointed out. My sister Olivia went through the effort of having kids. But instead of raising them herself, she effectively enslaved her own sister to do it for her. It took weeks of patient convincing to get Sophie to even fill out an application for community college. And the process itself took even longer. But we did it all behind Olivia's back. Sophie finally got her acceptance letter and was set to start in September. She planned to announce the good news to everyone on Independence Day. But Olivia beat her to it. Before Sophie had the chance, Olivia gathered the family to announce that she was pregnant with her second child. The color drained from Sophie's face. And she started to cry, realizing her dream was over before it began. She knew Olivia would never allow her to go to college now. When the truth about the secret college application came out, Olivia exploded. She claimed to be deeply hurt and offended that Sophie would plan something so huge behind her back. I immediately jumped in to defend Sophie. Our other siblings joined the fray, and the whole thing devolved into a chaotic mess of shouting. "How could you do this to me?" Olivia screamed at Sophie. "Who's going to take care of the babies? I can't believe you'd be so selfish. If you love Chloe so much, then go stay with her." And with that, she kicked both of us out of her house. Sophie stayed with me while the dust settled. Later, one of my siblings called to tell me I should have minded my own business, while another confessed she was on my side but was too afraid to say so publicly. Ultimately, the pressure was too much. Sophie went back to Olivia. Many have said they wouldn't have let Sophie return to that house. And believe me, it broke my heart to see her go. But they made a new deal. Olivia would pay her a measly $6 an hour and allow her to work more shifts at her job until the new baby was born. The promise was that Sophie could go to a real college after the child turned 1. It was a messed up arrangement. But Sophie, like most of my siblings, worshipped Olivia like a god and truly believed she would keep her word. Olivia thought she had won, resecuring her family's free labor with a pittance. She was completely unaware that this single, greedy act would be the final piece of evidence I needed to bring about her downfall. I waited a full year, giving Sophie time to save up enough money to finally live on her own. And I began to plot my revenge. My first step was research. I dug into the legality of paying someone with just food and shelter. In the US, it can be legal. But there's a very fine line. Essentially, you can give someone a list of tasks, but you can't dictate when or how they must be done. You can't demand they be at a certain place at a certain time. It has to be a request, not a command. And crucially, you still have to follow standard rental laws, like providing a 30-day notice for eviction. I had screenshots of texts where Olivia admitted to not paying Sophie, admitted to forbidding her from getting a real job, and even bragged about kicking her out on a whim, all clear violations. Of course, no one in the family would ever sue her. But that didn't matter. I just needed to make sure her employer knew that if she were sued, it would be a slam-dunk case. And where did Olivia work? A civil rights attorney's office. The irony was sickening. Finding out they employed someone who kept a modern-day slave would surely get her fired. This reveals Olivia's greatest fatal flaw, her arrogance. She was so convinced of her untouchable status within the family and at work that she never imagined her mistreatment of Sophie could have consequences in her professional life. I couldn't just send an anonymous email. They would tell Olivia why she was being fired. And the fallout for me and Sophie would be immense. I needed a more subtle approach. Olivia was always complaining about a partner at her firm who hated her. A woman named Ashley who had apparently been trying to get her fired for ages. A quick search on the company website led me to Ashley's full name. From there, I found her public Instagram and Facebook profiles. In one post, she had tagged her yoga studio. I signed up for a membership the next day. It took a few weeks of trying different class times, but I eventually found the one Ashley attended. 4 months. I showed up every Tuesday and Friday at 8 a.m. slowly and carefully building a friendship with her. After about 3 months, she asked to follow me on Instagram. I was ready for this, having already scrubbed my profile of any pictures featuring Olivia. 9 months into our now solid friendship, I decided it was time. I casually brought up the crazy coincidence that I had just discovered she worked with my sister, Olivia. Before she could react, I added, "It's so ironic that she works in civil rights. Considering, everything." That got her attention. We went for coffee after class, and I told her the entire story. I showed her every screenshot, every text message. As I spoke, I could see her eyes begin to shine with a familiar desire for revenge. She had her own history with Olivia, and it was clear she believed my sister was a world-class bitch. This is why befriending her was so critical. A random email would have been dismissed. But now, I had an ally on the inside. I explained that Olivia could never know I was the source. Ashley promised to be discreet but said she needed the evidence to convince the other owner of the firm, the only reason Olivia hadn't been fired already. I sent her everything. 2 months later, it happened. Olivia was fired for a series of minor mistakes, chronic lateness, and overall bad productivity. The official reasons were plausible enough to protect them from a lawsuit. But we knew the real reason. It was a quiet, subtle victory, but a deeply satisfying one. For the next 4 months, while she was unemployed, I made a point to visit. Seeing her so miserable and exhausted, with no money for a babysitter and Sophie finally away at college, forced to actually take care of her own children for once, was the sweetest revenge I could have imagined. The moral of this story is to check on your siblings and loved ones, because you never know if they're trapped in a nightmare they can't escape on their own. Standing up for those being taken advantage of is never the wrong thing to do. So, I have to ask, have you ever had to make a difficult choice to protect a family member from another? Let me know in the comments below.